As the first decade of the 21st century was wrapping up, it was safe to say that Dream Theater was a staple in its genre. Regardless of mainstream exposure, the press and Billboard charts showed the band's relevancy. Dream Theater went back into the studios in 2008 to record their 10th album, and in 2009 released Black Clouds and Silver Lining. This album would be a true celebration, as it was Dream Theater's first album to be released in multiple formats. In addition to the standard CD, the album was made available on vinyl, as well as a 3-disc special edition CD that include the full album, a second CD of instrumental mixes of the album, and a third CD of 6 cover songs from some of the band's most influential artists, such as Queen and Rainbow. The album would also be the band's highest debut on the Billboard Top 200 album charts, reaching number 6 and totaling $40,000 in first-week sales. The album would also conclude the now legendary 12-step project with the track The Shattered Fortress. At the very end of the song, it includes the opening riffs of The Glass Prison from their 2002 release 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. Drummer Mike Portnoy, who had lost his father to cancer during the Black Clouds recording, called this project the best of times, remembering his father and being able to show him what he was capable of musically. The band went back on tour across the world with their second Progressive Nation tour, traveling with the likes of Opeth, Big Elf, Zappa Plays Zappa, and Pain of Salvation. After touring, Dream Theater would spend the next few years embarking on a few other innovative firsts. Being one of the bigger names in progressive metal, another name that was making headway was technology. Dream Theater was becoming one of the first bands to show that musical talents can be taken beyond plain instruments. In 2009, one of the biggest names in the technology industry, Apple, would release their third-generation iPhone. The iPhone at this time was finally being carried by all major cellular phone services, and through many trials and tribulations, became more user-friendly. It would be around this time that Dream Theater keyboardist Jordan Rudess would discover Bebot, a multi-touch synthesizer application. It gave him the opportunity to turn his iPhone into a musical instrument. Through much time and practice, Jordan began using his iPhone during Dream Theater concerts. In the summer of 2010, a new album would be released by James LaBrie called Static Impulse. Using a more melodic death metal approach, it still managed to hold on to the progressive elements that Dream Theater made famous, and critical reception was a positive one. The summer of 2010 would conclude on another high note, as the band was invited to headline with British metal greats Iron Maiden on the Canadian leg of their summer tour. Before Dream Theater joined Iron Maiden, they embarked on another first by recording a brand new instrumental track for the third installment of the popular video game franchise, God of War. The track, Raw Dog, also included the first ever commercially recorded Harpagey track headlined by Jordan Rudess. What people did not know was that this specific track would be a last for Dream Theater as well. On September 8th, 2010, Mike Portnoy announced that it was time for him to leave Dream Theater. He used personal side projects, wanting a break, and just being burned out as reasons. John Petrucci was on board with Mike in regards to wanting a break, but the rest of the band would see things differently, and Portnoy chose to quit. Portnoy's departure also led to strained relationships with the men who almost 30 years ago chose to make a band in their college halls of Berkeley, Boston. While few bandmates did stay in touch, tensions became especially high when Portnoy called James LaBrie disrespectful for comments that he made during an interview, stating that Dream Theater was not sad at all that Portnoy was no longer a band member. Throughout 2011, Mike Portnoy would be the drummer for various newer groups in the metal world, such as Avenged Sevenfold, Adrenaline Mob, and Stone Sour. During that time, Portnoy stated that he would rejoin Dream Theater in a heartbeat. After his first tour with Avenged Sevenfold, he went to Dream Theater to ask, and they had made their choice to let the past be the past. Mike Portnoy was not admitted back into the band. A little more than a month after Portnoy's departure, Dream Theater began auditioning for a new drummer. In the spring of 2011, The Spirit Carries On, a 3-part YouTube documentary series, announced Mike Mangini was the band's new drummer. With this bridge being burned, it was time for the new lineup of Dream Theater to showcase their new path. Before Mike Mangini was announced as Dream Theater's new drummer, they had already began to work on their newest album in the beginning of 2011. In September, their 11th album, A Dramatic Turn of Events, debuted. It would be their highest international chart debut, and it reached number 8 on the Billboard 200. The album received mixed reviews but won numerous awards. The album's first single, On the Backs of Angels, was nominated for Best Hard Rock Metal Performance at the 2012 Grammy Awards, representing the band's first ever Grammy nomination. A special edition of this album would also include a bonus DVD of the 3-part YouTube documentary. Their album tour would give way to a traditional Christmas treat for the loyal fans. At 6 o'clock on that Christmas morning, Eastern Standard Time, a free electronic 2-CD set of live tracks that were not recorded for the Live at Luna Park soon-to-be DVD was available via BitTorrent. 2012 would continue to lift Dream Theater's spirits through a Rolling Stone magazine poll. The fans had spoken, calling Dream Theater's classic album, Metropolis Part 2 Scenes from a Memory, as the #1 all-time progressive rock album. This album was considered to be better than releases of some of the greatest names in all of progressive rock. Some of these albums included Genesis's The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Yes's Close to the Edge, Rush's 2012, and even Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Nothing could put any band on a bigger high than a fan appreciation provided by one of the biggest names in music press. Dream Theater would soon head back into the studio and record their 12th album, and soon enough, in the fall of 2013, Dream Theater hit the streets. It was the first Dream Theater album in which new drummer Mike Mangini would have full creditive input from start to finish. The album sold more than 34,000 copies in its first week and landed the Billboard charts at number 7, becoming Dream Theater's 3rd consecutive top 10 album. In addition, the album cracked the top 10 in 24 countries, including Japan, Germany, Argentina, Holland, Finland, Italy, Switzerland, Canada, Denmark, Norway, Austria, Australia, and the United Kingdom. The album was praised as the most far-reaching of all Dream Theater's music library, and critics told fans to prepare for one of the most emotional and touching albums that this band had ever recorded. The album's single, The Enemy Inside, would receive the band's 2nd ever Grammy nomination, but it would lose to the astonishing comeback of Black Sabbath with Ozzy Osbourne. Time will tell if Dream Theater will ever bring home music's most coveted award. For now, Dream Theater is showing no signs of slowing down. 2015 will mark the band's 30th anniversary. From 2013 until now, Dream Theater has been in the studio working on additional releases and even more band member solo projects. The band's 6th DVD, Live at Luna Park, was released in the winter of 2013. James LaBrie recorded his 3rd solo album, Impermanent Resonance, which once again held Dream Theater's sound as the backbone and received positive results from critics and fans alike. Guitarist John Petrucci is idolized for his musicianship and songwriting, contributing to each and every Dream Theater release. He holds the Guinness World Record as the world's fastest guitar player, and in 2002 was ranked number 17 as one of the greatest guitar players in music history. Bassist John Myung, known as the mysterious member of the group, has always been the strong backbone, and in 2010 was voted by Music Radar as the greatest bassist of all time. While being heavily committed to Dream Theater, Jordan Rudess managed to create his own software company in 2012 called Wisdom Music. Using the pioneering ideas from Bebot, Jordan has created more music software programs for computers, tablets, and smartphones. He even has begun releasing video games that allow people to learn and grow a passion for music for future generations. While still new to the band, drummer Mike Mangini was known as one of the world's 5 fastest drummers, and before coming to Dream Theater was a professor at Berkeley, Boston. He also appeared on the Discovery Channel show Time Warp to showcase his drumming talents. Dream Theater as a group has begun to plant seeds for their 13th studio release, and for now there are no tracks and no title, but a release date for 2015 has been announced. As a fan myself, I, like all other Dream Theater faithful, will eagerly be awaiting it. While music today will always cause debate amongst fans as to who is the best, faithfulness and fandom is truly what makes any sound of music great. Music is known as therapeutic as well as influential. What Dream Theater has continued to show is that you can create what truly makes you feel alive. Continue to push the boundaries and tear down the walls, because it doesn't matter what the mainstream is. Dream Theater has shown that their style of music, while it may not be played on an endless radio loop, has been given positive press, high ratings, and millions in revenues through their albums and concert sales. With new fans discovering their music every day, that is inspiration to carry on.